Really excited to have a member of the Capitals, left wing Daniel Winnik, with us here on the show. And Daniel, as I was getting ready and I was Googling you, because that's what I do before all of my interviews, I came across an article in which your wife had talked about the process of you all packing when you've been traded multiple times at the deadline. So 4 trades in your career, 3 of them at the deadline. You've been with the Capitals now for a year and a half. Why is Washington a good fit for you?
I don't know. I think just the fact that they give you defined roles here and everyone understands what their job is, where I've been on teams where there have been a lot more moving pieces for the lines. And since I've come to Washington, I've pretty much played with the same 2 guys, or the combination of the same 2 guys. And Jay and I played primarily together since we've been here last year. And then Tom was added on our line for the playoffs last year. And we've been a line this whole year. And very little movement going up and down throughout our roster. I think that's just made the world a difference for myself.
Does it feel like you found a home there? Or do you always wonder when it might happen again and when the next shoe might drop?
Yeah, I think in my situation, I kind of always think that, like, okay, is this the place where I'm going to stick? Like, I'd love it to be, but, you know, I think sadly that the phrase some people use, my first captain in the NHL, Shane Doan, used to say, you know, kind of once you're traded once, it could happen any time after that, because GMs just see as, well, this guy's been traded before, so, or, you know, might be if there's a coin flip between me and another guy on the team, but I've moved more for re-signing, that they might just choose to re-sign the other guy, knowing that I've moved a bunch. So I think that's always kind of in the back of my mind, regardless of how well I think something's going at my current situation.
Man, that is tough. When you think about it, though, all of these different moves, trades at the trade deadline, and the fact that you've had to adjust to so many different teams and systems, how do you feel like it's made you a better player?
Well, it definitely lets me not be complacent. I don't know if I worded that or structured that sentence the greatest, but yeah, I mean, it keeps me on my toes, and maybe that's why I've had some longevity in this league, considering my role. You know, I'm 32, but I don't feel like I'm 32, and maybe a part of that is because I've had to kind of beat so many young guys out of taking my position, where, you know, I've got to think like a young player and be in my best shape as possible and take care of my body. So I think for sure it's had a part to do with my success in this league.
We're spending a few minutes with Capitals left wing Daniel Winnik right before the Capitals and the Toronto Maple Leafs get on the ice for the first round of the Stanley Cup playoffs. It's After Hours with Amy Lawrence on CBS Sports Radio. So you mentioned the consistency with Washington and how that's been helpful in your career. I guess if there's a place to get traded to, the 2-time President's Trophy winner is a pretty good spot. And there's a lot of depth with Washington. How much does that help as you head into what you hope will be a long postseason run?
Yeah, when I found out last year, you know, it's kind of funny on trade calls. They just tell you that you've been traded. And then they drop the team, you know, they don't lead with right away. Like, it's almost like a game show. It's like they literally have a pause. It's like, Daniel, we've traded you to the Washington Capitals. I don't know why they do that. It's like, just say it. Maybe they just do it for dramatic effect. But, yeah, when I found out I was going to the Capitals last year, I was thrilled going to the first place team, and then staying here over the summer and being a part of this team past the trade deadline this year too. Very exciting. I think we're all thrilled at the possibilities that this postseason can bring, and everyone's goal is to bring home the Stanley Cup. That's our sole focus. I think last year we felt we were the team to be able to bring it home, and we didn't get the job done. And this year might be kind of like a redemption tour, in a sense, where I think everyone on this team wants to redeem themselves for past playoff failures.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up, because there is some talk about how the Capitals haven't been able to get past the second round of the postseason except for the one Stanley Cup playoff appearance. You guys are the top seed. You've got the best record. How much is that pressure talked about, this idea that you've got to be able to redeem yourselves as you move forward into this Stanley Cup playoffs?
Well, I don't think we talked about it yet. I've said this before with media. It just seems to be much more of a media narrative, something to spin a story off of. But we've never focused on it in the room. I don't think when I got traded here going, oh, Capitals are great. But you know what? They don't make it past the second round. Like, I never thought of that. I think it's just I think sometimes it just happens with matchups. And, my years and when I've had teams that I thought can go far, my first year in Anaheim, we got matched up against Detroit. We lost in 7. Second round, we had to play LA, who was at the time a cup contender. They might even won it that year again, but we lost to them. So sometimes you just run into tough matchups. And I think this year we understand the challenges that come in the second round. We're going to face one of the second or third best team in the league if we win the first round. So we're prepared for that this year.
Well, how much does it help when you're on the ice knowing that Braden Holtby is behind you between the pipes?
Well, I mean, goaltending is everything in this league. I think everyone points that out all the time, and Braden, nothing against all my previous goalies I've had, but Braden is by far the best goalie I've had the pleasure to play with, and he's just very steady back there, very calm, and he's got ice cold nerves. He's never out of position, never gets super frustrated in the game, and that's what you need to win games. You need a guy like Braden in between the pipes.
You certainly do. It's After Hours with Amy Lawrence on CBS Sports Radio. The Capitals and the Maple Leafs will skate in the first round of the Stanley Cup playoffs. We're spending a couple of minutes with Washington left wing Daniel Winnik. You mentioned that you're 32 and that you're constantly competing with guys who are younger than you. Well, the Maple Leafs have a 19-year-old in Austin Matthews who's scored 40 goals this year. Such a young age and yet so productive. What does that tell you about him?
Well, he's a generational talent. There's a reason he went first overall, and there's all the hype around him leading up to when he was drafted. And his play this year has obviously spoken for itself. And he's a challenge to defend. He's a real big body. He's got size, skill. He's kind of the total package. If you had to compare him to someone in the league presently who's been around for a long time, you might go for a guy like Getzlaf or even the Kopitar with the size that he brings to the game and his offensive instincts.
Does experience matter? Does it matter if you've been in the Stanley Cup playoffs before and you're prepared for what's to come on that stage?
I think so, yeah. I think experience in everything matters. Maybe regular season situations, playoff situations, you name it. So I think experience is something for you to lean on when there's pressure or stressful times. You don't know what to do. You just think back of what happened in the past in the situation that you're currently in.
A number that jumped out at me that I didn't realize until I was prepping for our conversation is that the Capitals have lost the fewest number of games to injuries inside the locker room. I mean, that's pretty impressive and obviously a big part of the success on the ice during the regular season. So, Daniel, what is the secret inside your locker room?
Yeah, I think you give some credit to our training staff and our strength and conditioning coach. But, we got a lot of, I don't know where we rank for age in the NHL average-wise, but, we got a lot of mature players on this team and understand the need to take care of your body and getting your treatments and all that. And quite frankly, I think a lot of injury stuff happens to do with luck and the personnel that you have. Some guys, you just have rosters that are filled with some guys who are injury-prone, and that kind of adds up to your man games lost. But we've been fortunate so far, and we hope that continues throughout the playoffs.
So as we're just hours away, are you guys getting excited inside your locker room for this second season, this fresh start?
Yeah, I think so. I think I saw a quote from Milan Lucic, who plays for the Oilers, that that first playoff game, if you've been there every year of your career, or if it's the first time, there's always some jitters. You're always that kind of nervous excitement before the game starts. So I think we're all just thrilled that the postseason's finally here.
I can certainly understand that. Bring it on. The Capitals and the Toronto Maple Leafs in the first round of the Stanley Cup playoffs Washington left wing Daniel Winnik. We appreciate a couple of minutes. Thank you so much, and good luck in the postseason.
Oh, yeah, you're welcome. Thank you.